When historians finally opened the tomb, they did not find the gold, the jewels, or the expected relics of a forgotten ruler that countless speculations had promised. Instead, they found something far more profound, a layered tapestry of human history preserved in ways that challenged our understanding of time, cognition, and collective memory. At first glance, it seemed almost ordinary. Pottery shards, fragments of manuscripts, skeletal remains. Yet, under the scrutiny of modern science, each object became a node in a complex network of insights about how humans have survived, adapted, and shaped the world around them. The opening of this tomb, sealed for centuries, is not merely an archaeological event. It is a window into the adaptive architecture of the human mind and the societal systems that scaffold it. In a sense, the tomb itself acts as a mirror, reflecting not just the life of its occupant, but the hidden mechanisms of human perception and the evolutionary pressures that have guided social organization for millennia. The first revelation came from the manuscripts. Though incomplete and partially decayed, the scripts contained references to social hierarchies, communal decision-making, and moral codes that were strikingly sophisticated. Neurologically, this can be interpreted as evidence of a complex cognitive ecosystem, where memory and foresight are intertwined. The way societies encode rules and ethics in tangible forms, texts, inscriptions, symbolic artifacts, can be likened to how the human brain encodes patterns of behavior. These objects act as externalized neurons, storing collective knowledge that survives beyond the lifespan of any individual. Psychologically, encountering these writings triggers what cognitive scientists call temporal empathy, the ability to simulate and emotionally resonate with minds from different eras. When we read the faded letters, our brains unconsciously model the experiences of the tomb's inhabitants, creating a networked resonance between past and present. This resonates with the idea that human culture is a distributed system, where individual cognition is amplified through social scaffolding and artifacts. The skeletal remains offered an equally profound insight. Osteological analysis revealed stress markers that told a story of resilience, disease, and adaptation. Each microfracture healed wound, or wear pattern in the bones is a record of environmental pressures and lifestyle choices. This is analogous to how neurons in the brain form pathways in response to repeated experiences. Every physical stressor leaves a trace, just as repeated cognitive or emotional challenges leave imprints on neural circuits. Interestingly, isotopic analysis suggested that the inhabitants of this tomb had access to a surprisingly diverse diet, which indicates sophisticated trade networks or resource management strategies. This dietary diversity is more than a nutritional fact. It is a metaphor for cognitive flexibility. Just as the brain thrives on diverse inputs to build robust mental models, societies thrive when their energy and resource networks are adaptable and interconnected. One of the most striking discoveries was a set of geometrically precise carvings on the walls of the burial chamber. Initially, they were thought to be decorative, but high-resolution scanning revealed that they encoded calendrical information, astronomical observations, and seasonal cycles. From a neuroscientific perspective, this demonstrates the human capacity for abstract pattern recognition and symbolic reasoning. The tomb's creators were externalizing their cognitive maps, creating artifacts that functioned both as memory aids and predictive models. Much like neurons in the prefrontal cortex simulate possible futures. The carvings also illustrate an intriguing phenomenon known in psychology as distributed cognition, where cognitive processes are not confined to the brain but are offloaded into the environment. The tomb itself becomes a cognitive scaffold, a physical manifestation of a mind extended into the material world. These findings prompt a deeper philosophical reflection. What does it mean to preserve knowledge? In the absence of our modern digital infrastructure, these humans built a system that encoded history, moral guidance, and predictive knowledge into durable, interpretable forms. The tomb was not just a resting place for the dead. It was a living archive, a neural network of society crystallized in stone and organic matter. Another layer of insight emerged from the pigments used in the murals and inscriptions. Chemical analysis revealed the presence of rare minerals, sourced from regions hundreds of miles away. This indicates a network of trade and communication that required planning, negotiation, and long-term social coordination. From a systems neuroscience perspective, one can draw an analogy to the brain's connectome, where distant nodes form functional pathways that integrate information across disparate regions. Societies, like neural networks, are most resilient when diverse nodes are interconnected, allowing for adaptability and error correction. Beyond the material artifacts, there was evidence of ritualized behavior surrounding death and remembrance. Objects were arranged in ways that suggest symbolic thinking, a capacity humans have long used to encode social rules, hierarchy, and ethical norms. Cognitive psychologists note that rituals serve as a form of social feedback, reinforcing group cohesion and transmitting norms across generations. The tomb, in this light, is a testimony to the feedback loops that sustain societies where memory, emotion, and behavior are intertwined in patterns that increase the likelihood of collective survival. One particularly fascinating artifact was a small, intricately carved figurine, initially dismissed as mere ornamentation. Further study revealed wear patterns that suggest it was handled frequently, possibly as a talisman or teaching tool. The repetitive handling indicates a behavioral reinforcement mechanism, akin to the brain's Hebbian learning principle neurons that fire together, wire together. Societies externalize this principle, encoding repeated practices and teachings in physical forms that, in turn, shape collective behavior over generations. Historians had expected to find evidence of conquest or hierarchical tyranny, yet the tomb revealed a society that prioritized adaptive cooperation. Evidence of collaborative infrastructure, such as shared storage for food and communal spaces for learning, points to an early understanding of distributed responsibility and resource management. Psychologically, this aligns with the concept of collective intelligence, where group cognition outperforms isolated individual reasoning. In evolutionary terms, the tomb captures a crucial insight: resilience is often more valuable than conquest. The twist, perhaps, is philosophical. While we often equate power with domination, the tomb shows that the invisible structures of cooperation, planning, and knowledge preservation are the true forces that sustain civilizations. A seemingly small adaptation, like storing surplus grain or encoding rules in durable texts, can ripple through time, shaping the trajectory of entire societies. This reframes how we think about human weakness and strength. What seems passive or insignificant at the individual level may constitute the very mechanisms that protect the collective system. Another unexpected discovery came from the microfaunal remains within the tomb. Tiny seeds and pollen grains, preserved by the controlled microclimate, revealed deliberate horticultural practices. The society's attention to ecological balance suggests a sophisticated understanding of feedback systems, where human behavior is modulated in response to environmental signals. This is analogous to homeostatic processes in the brain, where neural circuits self-regulate to maintain stability. The tomb, therefore, serves as an extended metaphor for the brain itself, a system finely tuned to detect signals, adjust behaviors, and preserve essential information over time. Even the tomb's spatial architecture offered insights. Its layout, designed with chambers that directed movement and visibility, seems to encode a hierarchy of cognitive and symbolic significance. Spatial cognition, the ability to navigate and mentally map environments, is fundamental to human intelligence. By externalizing this skill in architectural form, the tomb's creators provided future generations with a navigable map of social priorities, ethical norms, and practical knowledge. It is as if the walls themselves were instructing, guiding behavior long after the original inhabitants had passed. At its core, the tomb challenges our assumptions about history as a linear record of events. Instead, it suggests that history is a complex network of signals, each artifact a node conveying information about adaptation, cognition, and social structure. The human brain, in this metaphor, is both observer and participant, decoding these signals, resonating with past minds, and updating its internal model of what it means to survive and thrive. The revelation is subtle yet profound. The past is not just something to be studied. It is something to be inhabited cognitively. This approach changes how we interpret archaeological discoveries. We no longer see tombs simply as repositories of wealth or markers of power. We see them as cognitive systems designed to transmit information, to maintain continuity in the face of mortality, and to encode adaptive strategies for living within complex networks of social and environmental pressures. Another layer emerges when considering the symbolic motifs on the artifacts. Geometric patterns, recurring color schemes, and repeated motifs all suggest an early understanding of pattern recognition and information compression. These are fundamental processes in neuroscience and artificial intelligence, By identifying redundancies and invariances, systems can store more information efficiently and predict future events. The tomb's artifacts, in this sense, are early algorithms, pre-digital instructions for navigating the uncertainty of life. What is particularly striking is the integration of multiple domains within the tomb. Astronomical, nutritional, social, and spiritual information are all encoded together, reflecting an understanding that human survival requires a holistic approach. Modern psychology emphasizes the importance of integrated cognition combining memory, reasoning, emotion, and social understanding. The tomb, centuries before contemporary science, demonstrates an early grasp of this principle. It is as if the society had internalized the complexity of life and externalized it in a system designed to teach, guide, and protect future generations. One cannot overlook the philosophical implications. When we peer into the tomb, we confront not just the history of a society, but the nature of human consciousness itself. Our brains are designed to perceive patterns, to create narratives, and to project meaning onto the world. The tomb exploits these faculties, providing cues that our cognitive architecture is primed to interpret. In doing so, it ensures that the knowledge of the past is not simply stored, it is experienced, resonating emotionally and cognitively with those who encounter it centuries later. The tomb also challenges the way we consider mortality and legacy. Its creators understood that individual lives are fleeting, but knowledge encoded in social and material systems can endure. The artifacts, texts, and spatial structures function as memory extenders, allowing cognitive processes to transcend individual lifespan. In neuroscience, this is mirrored by the concept of extended cognition. Tools, symbols, and environments become integral components of thought. The tomb demonstrates that human ingenuity is not merely an invention, but in the foresight to externalize cognition in ways that survive the decay of flesh and memory. In practical terms, this discovery prompts us to reconsider the foundations of resilience and leadership. The society represented in the tomb did not rely on brute force or authoritarian control. It relied on distributed intelligence, redundancy, and feedback loops. Stress, conflict, and uncertainty were managed not through domination, but through system-level adaptations. This insight has profound implications for understanding historical collapses, modern organizational behavior, and even neuropsychological resilience. The final lesson of the tomb is subtle. The greatest strength often lies in what appears weak, in what seems passive. Just as synaptic pruning in the brain removes unused connections to strengthen overall network efficiency, small deliberate adaptations in society-preserving texts, maintaining ecological balance, encoding rituals enhance collective survival. What seems trivial or invisible at the moment may, over time, prove to be the scaffolding upon which civilizations endure. In closing, the opening of this tomb is more than an archaeological event. It is a meditation on human cognition, culture, and continuity. It challenges us to reconsider what we value as knowledge and power, reminding us that the seemingly modest acts of preservation, cooperation, and foresight are often the invisible engines driving historical endurance. The tomb speaks across centuries, inviting us to engage not just with its contents, but with the processes that created them. It prompts a reflection on our own society. Which of our current practices, technologies, and cultural artifacts will serve as the nodes of memory for future generations? How do our collective behaviors, like neurons in a vast system, encode lessons for those yet to come? When we step back and view history not as a series of grandiose events, but as a network of adaptive signals, we begin to appreciate the subtle genius of human societies. The tomb teaches that resilience, foresight, and the distributed preservation of knowledge are the true currencies of survival. As you reflect on this, consider the artifacts around you: books, digital files, social structures, ecological practices, not merely as objects, but as extensions of your cognitive network, influencing future minds in ways you cannot fully predict. The past is not just behind us. It is interwoven with the present and future, a continuous signal within the human system. Engage with it, question it, and contribute to it consciously. Every choice, every act of preservation or destruction, echoes in the neural and social networks that shape history. If this journey into the tomb has sparked curiosity or wonder, take it further. Explore, read, question, and share. Subscribe to Past Lens for more insights into the hidden architectures of human history. and leave a comment with your thoughts on what the tomb teaches about our own society. Together, we can decode the signals of the past to better understand the complex network that is human civilization.